Welcome everyone, friends and furs of all species. I'm Daisy Hyena. We're back with another episode of Winds of Change. Last time, I made my first choices as the new monarch. And now, we have gone across the ocean and we are at Alarenthia. Everybody should be at the docks, so that's where I'm going. When I exit the ship, I notice everybody standing around outside. Ulric stands strong and tall, but all of my other comrades look defeated. Fanning themselves, it's clear that the heat is the source of this exhaustion.
Oh, geez, this is almost unbearable. Ulric, how do people even live in this heat? It's only been 10 minutes, and I already feel like death.
You get used to it, trust me. Besides, a lot of the natives are draconic. Their bodies don't handle the mainland too well.
Fair enough.
Oh, I think I read about that. Hopefully they can adapt just as fast as we can. We'll be marching into Balteus together, after all.
Yeah,
I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just make sure to have a drink on you at all times. In these deserts, dehydration is your greatest enemy.
Right.
they part ways and go about their business. Ulric goes toward Pro and they start talking in private. Valessa ends up with Morty, so I need to find my own company. Dominic and Hal stand together, so I slowly walk toward them. Hopefully some of the tension had settled after the long voyage. No, it hadn't, I swear. It would be detrimental to have two senior staff constantly at arms.
Hello, Monarch.
Hey.
I was just about to ask Howl about alarenthia. Surely it looks much different than it did back then. Legends dictate that it was once lush and full of green.
Legends that lie.
Wow.
Wait, really? But that can't be true. The destruction of the idol turned it into this desert.
Yeah.
Without spiritual energy to nurture the land. Oh, wait.
Love it.
Precisely. Alarenthia has always looked this way. This legend you speak of is simply a poorly conjured tale. We often create stories to understand what we cannot grasp.
Wait, does that mean Valinor will be fine without the idol?
Correct. In our prison, we had no power. There is no logic behind these assumptions of yours. At least, no logic now that you know the truth of our kind.
Fair enough.
Well, isn't that wonderful news? At least it narrows our focus a little bit more. I could tell that was a source of stress, Monarch.
Oh, let's see. That's an understatement. Oh, how it could hug you. Can't wait to tell this to Valessa and Morty. It's hard to celebrate knowing the monarchy suffered. Oh, yeah. I can't wait to tell this
We
to
imagine
Valessa
this
and
is a
Morty.
big relief, especially for the Elder. The anxiety of ruling a nation doomed to death, that would be too much. If they have any further questions, do not hesitate to direct them our way.
No problem. He crosses his arm and looks around the docks. I can tell he's wondering why we're still standing around. After all, we're on a tight schedule with the ball and all.
Normally there'd be a lengthy immigration process, but due to the ball, this nation is open to everybody. It's a long trek, but we can head straight into the city.
What do we do once we get there?
Look for Vivian, I presume. If we can't find her in time, then we'll head to the ball. But meeting her before then would be a huge advantage.
We agree with this course of action, Monarch. However, our knowledge of Alarenthia is not very deep. We'd suggest working closely with Ulric in this endeavor.
Yeah, that makes sense. I nod, agreeing with what they both have to say. As if it was to dismiss me, they both turn away. It's nice to see that they are getting along at least. Ulric and Pro seem to be done with their conversation as well. Making my way to Ulric, I notice something odd. Out of the corner of my eye, someone is staring at me. Oh, hey now, what? Hold on now. You also seem to be attractive. Okay. I make eye contact with them and they quickly run away. Now, it was concerning being by Ulric is probably a good idea right now. As I approach him, he smiles at me. Odd. I thought he'd be miserable.
Hey there, Monarch. Welcome to my homeland. Forecast calls for excruciating heat and a chance of death. Just a chance, though. Let's hope it stays that way, right?
Yep. Why not? I guess he's using some humor to cope.
Let me guess. You have a lot of questions. I'll try my best to answer, but make it quick. We're on a strict timer here. We can't fail.
He motions towards the vast desert before us. Honestly, it seems to go on forever. It's crazy.
The ball starts in around 8 hours. Dinner time. If we don't move fast, we won't be able to make it. You know what's at stake, Monarch. Let's get going.
I nod. I guess he does have the authority here. After all, none of us know anything about this place. If we're following his lead, I'd better do what he says. Of course, I do have a few questions about this place. If I stop to ask him before we leave, I'd better do it fast. Missing that ball could be catastrophic to our cause. Halen, Sovy, and Shane had finally arrived in Balteus. Making their way to the castle, Sovy trembled with anxiety. He didn't know how the triumvirate would react to any of this.
Halen, can I talk to you for a moment?
Of course, Master.
They stop in their tracks, Shane included. He knew enough not to intrude on their secret talks. He stood to the side even though he was now one of them.
Back in Mazeo, I was confident, but not anymore. I'm starting to worry that the triumvirate will chastise me. What should I expect? And how should I react if they do?
You act as if you haven't failed them before. Remember when I first became your apprentice? They thought you weren't teaching me good enough. You almost went insane when they gave you time off.
You would too, Halen. Trust me, it's boring. But that's nothing in comparison to what happened. We don't have the blade, and almost everybody escaped.
Through no fault of our own, remember? I have your back in this. I won't tell them the truth. However, I need to ask for one thing in exchange.
Of course.
Work on your personal issues, Master. I don't care what they are. Just get them sorted out. But we'll save the bad news for last. We dealt a major blow to the rebellion, Sovy. With the loss of their leader, they'll be in disarray. If the triumvirate doesn't like that, then it's their problem. Like you said, this isn't the last time we'll face them in battle. Whether it takes us days or months to win, it shouldn't matter. After all, we'll still win. With that said, are we clear?
In this moment, it seems like Halen was the one giving orders. Yeah, talk about a fucking shift in dynamic. However, Sovy had no choice but to obey. He couldn't risk being exposed.
We're clear. Let's continue walking. I'll think of what to tell them as we move along.
They break their huddle and continue walking toward their HQ. Shane steps closer, striding in unison with Sovy as they do so.
So, what was all that about? You said I was one of you now, right? When will you start treating me that way?
Oh, sorry. Force of habit. We were just talking about what we should tell our masters. While we did damage the rebellion, we failed in our objective.
You mean that blade?
Yes, and the Ceres.
Look, Sovy, you kinda saved my life. For that reason alone, you have my support. Whatever you want me to do, just let me know.
Damn. Sovy smiles, having the support of his comrades. Man, at least make him buy you a drink before you suck his dick that hard. Any fears that he has of being punished were quickly put to rest.
Thank you, Shane. It means a lot. I can tell we're going to get along just fine.
Hey,
What can you tell me about the ball?
well, it's definitely not something Draco came up with. Rulers of Alarenthia have been doing it for ages, actually. It's supposed to make your subjects less inclined to rebel. It's not really working if Vivian exists, but at the end of the day, it's still a nice party. As much food and drink as you could ever want. Don't worry, Monarch, I won't go overboard. I do like to drink, but not while I'm on a mission of any sort. I'll be tempted, of course, though I'm sure you can keep me in line. After the feast, there's a large ball, but it all starts with a speech. Basically, Draco will be bragging about his power and influence. If he shows off how strong he is, he's less inclined to be challenged. Though if there is a challenge, they hold a tournament the next day. It rarely happens unless it's a drunken partygoer trying to play a joke. Everyone wakes up, hungover, and goes about their simple lives.
Fair enough. What can you tell me about
Honestly,
Draco?
I don't know too much about him. I've been out of the loop on Alarenthian politics for a while. But to hold the throne of this nation, you need to be fierce.
Fair enough.
So, if you think I'm strong, then you know nothing. He'll make me look like a whelp in comparison. And from what I've heard, he's pretty smart too.
That's
Most
not good.
rulers, from what I've seen, simply bathe in their own riches. To hold a ball and share it with your nation? That's pretty genius. It destroys any motivation to remove him from the throne. That's why Alarenthia hasn't had a tournament in a long time. The people are either happy or certain that they lose in combat. I'm betting on the latter, which makes Draco even more intimidating. Do not underestimate him, Monarch. If the natives can't dethrone him, what chance do we stand? Vivian might dream of a changed nation, but it'll stay that. Just a dream.
What are some places of note?
The town square is a nice place, but it's just like Museo. A large market with people all peddling their homemade wares. You won't find anything you need, but you'll find everything you want. After that, I'd say to pay the Colosseum a visit. It's not just a venue used to battle for Alarenthia's throne. They have large battles every day, and you can place bets.
Nice.
Of course, my personal pick would be the tavern. Alarenthia has a lot of unique drinks, so I'll make sure to stop there. If I get my fill, maybe I'll be lucky enough to forget this entire voyage.
How does it feel to be back here after all the
It
time?
doesn't feel any different than I thought, if that's what you mean. Stepping foot on this soil didn't change my mind. It only solidified my hate. Let's do everything we can to get out of here as fast as possible, Monarch. Please.
Is there anything else that you want to do now that you're back?
No, I just want to get the job done and get back home. If you think you can change my outlook on this place, you're wrong. I think this conversation is over, Monarch. We have a long journey ahead.
Alright, let's get going. We take slow, heavy steps through the deserts of Alarenthia. Heat assaults us, and the humidity is thick, like sheets in the air. Ooh, sounds like Houston. Ulric seems unfazed, but everyone else is handling it pretty badly.
I can't believe that people actually live here. How much farther is it, Ulric? This is crazy.
I'd say around 6 to 8 hours. There's an oasis halfway there. We can stop. I have a feeling you've already exhausted your canteen.
It was too hard to resist. So, there's an oasis in a few hours? That'll be a good place to rest and relax.
In fairness, fun fact to all y'all. If you're in a desert situation, do not ration your water. That actually is one of the #1 killers. Most dead bodies in the desert are found with bottles of water that still have water inside of them. If you're thirsty, drink the water. Okay? You're not gonna last longer. You just won't. That's a fallacy that movies and TV shows are trying to push, but it is fake. If you're thirsty, you drink the water. The end.
We can't waste that kind of time, Dominic. There's enough time to fill up on water. That's it. If we take too long, we'll miss both Vivian and the ball.
Right, of course.
Dominic pants, sweat trailing through his fur. He's not alone, though. Almost everyone acts the same. Hopefully things would cool down once the sun started to set, and then it drops all the way down to the negatives. I move towards Ulric as we walk through the desert. He was our guide, so I shouldn't let him out of my sight. I can see the city in the distance, but no oasis at all.
Back in the day, they used these deserts as punishment. Criminals were sent out here and they had to prove their worth. If they were strong enough to survive, then they'd be taken back in. Most of the time, the criminals would just succumb to the heat. They'd be unable to move, then they'd pass out. Death would come soon after. They called these people Sixers, since they usually passed out within 6 hours.
Damn. I'm not sure why he's telling this to me. If he wants to pep me up, he's sure failing. We'd be out here for more than 6 hours.
In addition to that, their bodies lasted 6 days. Don't worry though, we'll be fine. We have water. That isn't the courtesy they wanted to give to criminals.
Well, at least that makes me feel better.
You're probably wondering why I'm telling you this story.
He smiles and holds out an arm. Rotating it slightly, he shows off his tattoos.
If the Sixers survived, they gave them special markings. They were pardoned and to be respected for their power. A bit of a secret, you know? Just keep it between us, alright?
Oh, so, he was a criminal that was thrown out into the desert and he lived. Wait, so Ulric is an alarenthia criminal? Or at least he was, since he appears to have been pardoned. That also, because he has the same tattoos, well, Howl has the same tattoos as Ulric, so was Solace a ex-Alarenthian criminal? I'm glad he was comfortable enough to tell me this kind of stuff. Did the dragon? No, I don't think the dragon had those same tattoos.
Besides, they look pretty good, don't they?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind some of my own. You were a criminal. I thought I knew you. Oh, to break the law. Yeah, I wouldn't mind some of my own.
Well, they haven't used that method of punishment in a while. You might just need to find a copycat artist like Salas did.
Oh.
If something looks cool, people always try to rip it off. Anyway, I guess that's enough story time for now. The more you know about Alarenthia, the better. That, and it makes the walk go by way faster.
That's true.
If you'll excuse me, I have some business to take care of. We'll have plenty of time to talk later, Monarch, trust me. If you find that you're needing anything, just wave me down.
I nod before looking back at the rest of my comrades. They look so drained and fatigued. We need that oasis and fast.
Hey, Pro, can I talk to you for a second?
Of course. What's up?
I can't say in front of everybody else. I need to talk to you alone, in secret.
Oh, is it about that?
Pro, not in front of anybody else. Follow me over here and talk quietly.
Right. Sorry. Well then, what's up?
Ah, so it's something secret.
Hey.
What do you think about Alarenthia so far?
From what I've experienced so far, it's awful. I'm holding out on hope that it's colder in the city, but I know that won't be true. I bet it'll be even worse. If I lived here, I'd definitely be nocturnal. I mean, it must get colder at nighttime, right? I just sleep the day away, and that's a fact. So I guess not much would change, to be honest. Though I haven't been able to get much sleep lately. Anyway, yeah, it's basically the worst place in the world.
Ha! Do you think we'll be able to secure
I sure
alliance?
hope so. Otherwise, this would be a waste. I mean, coming here and then leaving empty-handed, that'd mean we put ourselves through all of this for nothing. That's not my style, you know? I don't care if we have to fight in a tournament even. We're not coming all the way here only to accomplish nothing.
Who would you side with? Vivian or Draku?
Whoa, putting me on the spot, huh? I guess I'd probably side with Vivian. Ulric hates this place, and I can see why. Politics would only make this 1,000,000 times worse. So I think Alarenthia would be better off like the mainland. It's different, yes, but in my opinion, it's a bad different. Like, Mazeo was different, but it was good. The constant battle to see who is stronger? Yikes. Sounds like that would get pretty toxic, and fast.
Do you prefer Howl or Dominic?
That's a tough choice, but I'd have to say Dominic. It's not fair that Howl tried to pin all of this on him. Nothing that happened at the Rebel HQ was his fault. But that doesn't mean I hate Howl. Far from it. He seems so wise, and we could learn a lot from him. An entire ancient culture inside of him? Just think about it. There's so much we don't know about the monarchy. He could help us fill dozens and dozens of history books. I hope he survives this. He has lots of info to pass on to us.
Any sign of that oasis?
No, and I'm slowly melting. I went through all my water within the first hours. My fault, I know. I'll make sure to ration it better next time. If there is a next time, of course. I'm starting to think that this oasis was a lie. I see mirages, sure, but no real water. If you see it, make sure to tell me right away. I might even go for a swim if I have the time. You should join me. It'd be pretty awesome.
Alright, oasis time. When we arrive at the oasis, everyone immediately runs towards it. Opening their cantinas, they fill them up and quickly drink up. I do the same before turning to face my allies in relief. I was starting to get parched and worried about passing out. The placement of an oasis here was awfully convenient. I choose not to count our blessings as I face my friends.
This is amazing! Just what I needed. If you don't mind, I'm gonna take a swim. Just give me a few minutes, alright?
Fortim, no. That's disgusting. People drink this water. It's not for swimming.
But...
No.
Morty scoffs and crosses his arms. This is the moment I decided to tell him what Hal told me. Without the power from the Sugberg's idol, Valenorth would be fine.
Wait, really?
That's amazing.
Hell
Are
yeah.
you certain about this?
Yep. I nod. Hal was definitely a reliable source. There was now an upside to all of our shaken faith.
I totally needed to hear some good news. This trek through the desert is downright awful. When we get back, let's all go to Valenorth.
Yeah, definitely. It'll feel so good to be back home. With your vision and that dim idol, my outlook was so grim. But now that attack won't happen, and the idol doesn't matter.
Long live Valenorth?
Long live Valenorth.
Long live Valenorth.
We all smile before parting ways. I look over to Ulric and Pro. They're talking to each other, but very quietly, almost secretive. I choose not to interrupt and make my way over to Dominic.
Hey, we were just talking about our future options. I mean, would we rather side with Vivian or Dracu? I think Vivian is the better option, but Hal disagrees.
As we seem to do in many matters, we need strength to win the upcoming war, Dominic. Vivian cannot deliver as much strength, only hope for her nation. If hope could win wars, we wouldn't even be here. In times like this, we are glad that you're not in charge.
Damn.
We trust that the monarch will make the proper decision.
Well, what do you say, Monarch? If you had to choose right now, what would you do? Just a hypothetical, of course, nothing set in stone.
Fuck. Because what pisses me off is Howl is right. Ugh! We're not in Danganronpa. Hope does not win shit. Ah! At least for now, I'll say Vivian.
There you have it, Hal. We need to think about the future of this world too. It makes sense to give Alarenthia a new form of leadership.
There is nothing wrong with the way Alarenthia is run. You cannot change it simply because you do not like it. Such a move would make you no better than the triumvirate.
I mean, shit. But, like, I can understand that if an outsider wanted to change it. But I mean, like, we're talking about insiders. Like, natives want to change that shit. So.
We cannot become the enemy we seek to dethrone. Your way of thinking requires some reevaluation, Domic. You may say means to an end, but so does the triumvirate.
Wow, you paint me as such a villain.
A change in leadership would require the spilling of blood. Innocents would die, much like the occupation of Mazeo. Think of what you lost. Do you want to do this to others?
Domic seems unable to come up with a response to this. Promptly changing the subject, he seems to admit defeat.
Well, are you all full up on water? Ulric said we're halfway there, and we're making good time. I think we'll make it to the city with plenty of time to spare, Monarch.
Hal seems unamused by the sudden change in topics.
This body does not work like you would expect. We do not need water, and do not risk passing out. Whenever you're ready to continue, we will do so.
After saying that, we all part ways. We shouldn't stay here for too much longer. Missing that ball would damage our cause immensely.
So, what's it like to be a seer? What kind of stuff are you starting to see? Does it hurt your head? Are you enjoying it?
It gives me great pleasure to see the future. Right now, it's just the little things. Indecipherable. Perhaps as we process this, things will become clearer.
I see loss in the future, loss and tragedy. But for which side of this battle, I cannot say. It seems to be a gut feeling at the moment.
Yeah, it's the same for me. Brief flashes. But I see a coliseum, and a big struggle. I think you'll all be fighting during your visit.
Fighting? That's no fun. Hopefully your powers get better over time. Imagine how strong you'd be in those battles. Able to see every move before the enemy even makes it? With that power, we'd never have to worry about tragedy or loss. I can tell you're going to be one of the best assets in this war.
Why, thank you. That means a lot. I'm happy to serve the rebellion in any way I can. What they did back in those tunnels was inexcusable.
Yeah, I'd say we show them the same treatment. We'll fight for a future that all of you can enjoy. Even if we can't join that future ourselves.
That's certainly a pessimistic view, Ignis. There might be a way to save our minds, you know. This rebellion has proved that anything is possible.
Yeah, you're right. We'll make it through this.
Hey.
So what do you think of Alarenthia?
I can't believe how hot it is, actually. I mean, Ulric told us stories, and I thought he was exaggerating. As soon as we stepped off that ship, I knew he was actually right. Of course, he doesn't seem like the type to embellish his stories. Maybe some part of me was just hoping it wouldn't be that bad. He painted such a grim picture of this place, you know?
Yeah. Oh, would you rather side with Vivian or Draku?
Vivian, hands down. I don't like the way Alarenthia is run. Relying on strength alone creates such a toxic atmosphere. Anyone with a brilliant mind would simply be pushed aside. That holds back the progression of society by so much. Valinor embraced new ideas and nurtured bright minds. If anything, it actually explains why Alarenthia is so primitive.
What are your thoughts on Hal?
It's so weird seeing our former elder just walking around. But I need to work on that. I need my mind to know it's not him. Salus is gone, and there's nothing we can do to change that fact. Hal is an interesting guy. He sure has a lot to say. His insight into the past of the world could fill 1,000,000 books. With all of those souls, he knows almost everything there is to know. He told me that society has actually regressed in Alarenthia. It used to be one with the monarchy. Their whole world was united. I hope we can make a world like that after this war is finally over.
Anything you would like to accomplish?
Yeah, I want to break the record for most water ever ingested. I'll never take something like that for granted ever again, I swear. It makes me miss the water tank from back in Valinor, actually. Whenever we needed it, it was right there on demand. One oasis in the entire desert makes water pretty scarce. How do they handle the water situation in their capital?
Do you think Ulric will be okay now that he's back home?
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. It's just a lot to take in. He finally has a chance to change this place for the better. Apparently, that's all he wanted ever since he was young. I feel like this world will be completely different after we win. Such a scary thought. Well, scary and exciting. We're leading a revolution. I almost can't believe it.
Alright, we're up. Wait, unless there is a book or some shit. Let me just make sure I'm not missing any bookage. Okay. We should be at the gates. We arrived at the gates to Alarenthia after an exhausting trek through the desert. It feels like things will change now that we're here, but they probably won't. The city won't be any more inviting. There just might be more water. A lone man stands at the gates, and I recognize him. He's the man I saw watching us back at the docks. This can't be coincidence. He must be after us. Ulric notices him and starts to walk towards the gate.
Let me handle this. I've been here before. He probably knows who we are. Info travels fast here. Just stay calm and I'll have us in the city in no time, alright?
We all nod, leaving Ulric to handle the situation.
We seek passage into the city and nothing more. It's been a long trip from Azeo and we need shelter. Our business lies with the ones known as Vivian and Draku.
The man remains silent for a few moments before bursting into laughter.
I know exactly who you are, Ulric. Vivian is waiting for you in the tavern. And Draku? Well, you'll have a ball to attend.
Wait, how do you know who I am?
I followed you all, up until the Oasis. That was my chance to get ahead and tip off Vivian. Besides, you stick out like a sore thumb. Nice markings, Sixer.
I trust that won't be an issue.
It shouldn't, but I'm surprised you found somebody to do that. Recreating the markings of the ancients is frowned upon. They earned those markings. You certainly did not.
Oh, so... I guess this just further proves the fact that Ulric is probably, like, super ancient old.
Of course.
Though you do bear a striking resemblance to the Ulric of legend. If anything, that'll make your relationship with Vivian more amicable.
I was given this name by my parents. They aligned with his views, and so do I. If that'll be all, we'd like to keep going.
Of course, I wasn't standing here to stop you. I merely wished to welcome you back home. I hope you and your monarch end up useful.
He bows to Ulric as a sign of respect.
By the way, call me Drakior.
Ulric nods before turning back to face us. Drakior enters the city, likely returning to Vivian's side. I'm glad that our quest in this land finally has some direction.
Well, that was easy. Because of the ball, there's almost no security. I knew he'd be involved with Vivian. I could just tell.
So we'll have enough time to meet with her before the ball. That's great. I was worried we'd be on a tight schedule. You can't really rush decisions that change a nation.
Yeah, it was definitely fortuitous. We better make sure it's not a trap. That's the perfect way to catch us off guard.
Well, he didn't seem disingenuous.
That's the perfect way to catch us off guard.
Right. So what's the next step?
We head into the town square. If the tavern hasn't moved, it's connected. We'll be seeing Vivian within the hour, for sure.
Alright, sounds good to me. Is there more water in the city?
Yeah, but don't ask for water in the tavern. It's seen as a sign of weakness amongst Alarenthians. If you drink anything while we're there, make sure it's ale.
Everyone stands around, seeming to wait for my mark. There's something up with Ulric. I have a strong gut feeling. His secret talks with Pro and some of the things Drekor said. Is Alarenthia the same as it was back then?
No, it is completely different. More primitive. Alarenthia existed in unison with the monarchy. It was one part of a larger whole. It was peaceful. Being stuck in a constant power struggle sounds awful, but still, it has given us what we need. A strong potential ally. Draco is the result of generations of a savage cycle of growth. Every ruler is stronger than the last. For almost an eternity, they have followed these laws. Draco and his army must be exceptional in their power.
How are you handling Solus's body?
We have no complaints. It seems to be others who have problems, especially those close to Salus, like his son. But we will work on that while we travel. Perhaps your forces just need time to adjust. This must be a jarring transition, to say the least.
Did you really make it through the desert with no water?
We require no sustenance. We may eat and drink with this body, but it is not necessary. If anything, we would do it for pleasure, rather than to survive. But pleasure is not something we require either. So, because of that, we choose not to eat or drink. There are those who need it more than us, Monarch.
Do you think we'll win this war and defeat the triumvirate?
We are unable to comment on this matter. Conjecture of that kind will lead nowhere constructive. We must simply increase our chances of winning and try.
Sounds good. Anything else? Nope. Let's make sure I didn't miss. Yep. As soon as we enter the town square, Ulric motions for us to stay close. People run amok while others try to peddle their wares, waving us over. It almost seems just like Mazeo, but the products must be different.
Good. Tavern is in the same place. It's just over there, so we'll make it on time.
He crosses his arms and looks around the town square, then he rubs his arms in a way that almost hides his tattoo. But it's too late. I can already see the townspeople staring. Ulric was definitely hiding something from all of us. I'd hate to say he's losing our trust, but it's definitely suspicious. Nothing he's told me adds up to what the Alarenthians have said. Almost out of fear, it seems that the townspeople are avoiding us. Eye contact is as far as we go, leaving us lots of room to maneuver. I guess that helps. It'd suck if they all invaded our personal bubble.
Let's not waste too much time out here, alright? I think we only have a few hours until the ball begins. I'll stay here, but feel free to look around for a bit.
Honestly, I expect Alarenthia to be different. But it looks like I'm staring at an alternative version of Mazeo. The only thing that stands out is the architecture and the heat. That heat. It didn't change one bit when we got to the city. However, the natives seemed used to it, walking around with ease. Most of them aren't fully clothed, wearing a getup much like Ulric's. I guess it's my fault for expecting something different out of this place. Before we head to the tavern, I decided to look around for a few minutes. Maybe it would be a good idea to talk to Ulric as well. He's acting strange. First, I look through the market stalls. There are a few books on display. There's one about Sixers, so I figured I'd give it a read. That term seems to be thrown around recently, and I wanted to learn more.
On Sixers. Sixers, the nickname for victims of a vicious form of punishment that has since been forbidden. 6 hours is all a person can last before passing out in the harsh deserts of Alarenthia. Then, 6 days later, without sustenance, they pass away. Back in ancient times, this was used as a way to punish criminals and make them prove their self-worth before returning to society. If they could survive for an entire 6 days without food and water, they would be welcomed back into Alarenthia's arms. Of course, the survival rate was low. Many people thought this was a skewed form of punishment, clearly rigged to kill. It was so long ago, but they were likely right. Disposing of criminals before making them serve sentences or deliver a more conventional means of justice was barbaric. At least that's what the activists said. It wasn't very long until their movement gained traction, and this practice was banned. Instead, they gave criminals the chance to fight for their freedom in the Colosseum of Alarenthia. If they won, their sentence would be negated. This was seen as more fair and less rigged against them. This form of resolving conflict and fighting for rights over the ages would soon evolve into something more. Passing laws, deciding leaders, and determining fates of citizens would also go on to be placed in the hands of victors. Now, the nation rests in the hands of the strong.
I see. On top of crates rests a book about Dracoic's reign. Perhaps some young Alarenthians were reading up on him before the ball. It definitely paints a grim picture of the nation. Draco must be very strong.
Draco's reign. In Alarenthia, a ruler is lucky if their reign lasts even a year. However, Draco has been in power for several decades. This is definitely unheard of. His power is immense, and any challengers to the throne are quickly defeated in the Colosseum without effort. Every year, Draco hosts a ball in his castle and freely spreads his riches amongst the citizens of Alarenthia. That, coupled with his strength, keeps most of his subjects happy. Many are less inclined to insurrection, and those that attempt to dethrone him are easily defeated. He seems to have a stranglehold on the nation, but it is also one that gives the land a continued sense of peace. However, due to the way that the nation is run, it is only a matter of time until he is dethroned in the Colosseum. He will join the rest of Alarenthia's past rulers, none of which have succumbed to natural causes. Only the strength of others.
Huh. Very good read.
Hey,
Do you think Dracor is leading us into a trap?
I have no idea, but it doesn't really matter. I'm pretty sure that we can handle whatever they throw at us. But if he truly does work for Vivian, then we have some good luck. We could use some of that, couldn't we? So for now, I'm going to believe Drakior, but only for now. If anything seems suspicious at the tavern, I'll tip you off. Although, the prospect of a tavern brawl does sound appealing, you haven't seen true fighting until you've seen it in Alarenthia. Just thinking about it gets my blood boiling. It's been too long. Of course, I'll try my best to keep our visit a peaceful one. I don't want to end up fighting for our freedom in the Colosseum. Their methods of punishing prisoners are still pretty harsh.
Yeah. What do you mean by Ulric of legend?
I hate to talk about this, so I'll try making it quick. Vivian obviously isn't the first person to rebel against Alarenthia's laws. The first one, at least in recorded history, was named Ulric, like me. Many people followed after his ideals, including my parents. So much so that they decided to name me after him. I don't like it. That's all it is, really. My name is a silly little tribute. I guess it doesn't help that I also actually look like him. Or at least all artistic and textual descriptions of him. A pretty cool coincidence, but that's all it is.
No, it's not.
I knew this stuff would come up as soon as we got here. Just remember, you've known me long before this trip. Don't come to judge me by the things these people say.
How did you actually get those tattoos?
I'd rather not talk about that right now. But I have a feeling you'll find out soon enough. It's complicated and we're really short on time. Just trust me, alright? It's nothing bad. I earned these, they weren't ripped off. Let's grab a drink in the tavern and chat.
What have you and Pro been talking about?
That's none of your business. Not yet. Again, just trust me, okay? Please. There's lots going on that you don't know. That's not to say that you'll never know it. Just sit back and wait until the time is right. I promise that everything will make sense soon.
Anything notable in the town square?
Other than the tavern, not really. There's just the market stalls like Mazeo. However, there's no laws in place for this stuff. You can buy whatever you want in Alarenthia. Pirates make a living bringing illicit goods overseas. So whatever your heart desires, you can probably find. But I don't think you're the type of person to want that stuff. So if it's all the same to you, we should probably get to the tavern. Remember, we're on a bit of a schedule. Our time is valuable.
No doubt. We enter the tavern and make sure to stick close together. It was packed, noisy, and the patrons seemed pretty rowdy. I make sure to stick by Ulric in case something breaks out.
It looks just like I remember it. All these years and nothing has changed. I guess there's no use trying to change perfection.
Yes, it looks much like it did in our time as well. If memory serves, Alarenthia is home to a unique wine, Monarch. If you have a drink, we would suggest that.
Hell yeah.
Wow. He actually knows what he's talking about. I'm buying a few bottles to bring back to the mainland. The climate of Alarenthia affects the taste of everything. Some in a good way and some in a bad way. I won't bore you with the details, but the wine is great. Let's find Vivian and get everything started, shall we?
Alright. We'll nod to one another and venture deeper in the tavern. It's an open place with no doors, so I can see right outside to the market. It makes things noisy, almost unbearably so, but I'll have to deal with it. We approach the bar. I assume Ulric is going to ask after Vivian. I can't even see Dracor. I look around and notice a bunch of eyes on us. Part of me starts to wonder if this was a trap. Something feels odd. A man sneaks up behind us and stands between me and Ulric. He has a drink in his hand and he slams it down on the table. Some of it spills on the bar. This man must be intoxicated.
Hey, would you let me buy you a drink? Something tells me you're not from around here. I know a lot about this place if you need a tour guide.
Before I can answer, Ulric gently pushes them away.
Look, we don't have time for any antics. But if you know where Vivian is, we could use some help. You're right about us being foreigners. We've come a long way.
Oh, you're looking for Vivian. Why didn't you say so? Follow me.
No. Ulric and I stare at each other at unease.
We'd rather stay here if you don't mind. Following strangers isn't the best idea.
All right. I'll be right back. Normally I wouldn't do this, but I trust you. Have I seen you before? You look familiar.
No. Now please leave us be. Don't bother us again unless you have Vivian. I'll ask the barkeep in the meantime. Maybe they know.
The mystery man nods and walks away from us. I doubt he'd be coming back. He was probably a scammer. Is there something about us that marks us as easy targets? Probably Morty.
Now I guess I'll start.
Before he could continue, Dracor sneaks up behind us.
Your manners could use some work, Ulric.
I use my manners on worthwhile people.
And Vivian isn't one of them? I saw how you just shoved him away.
Wait, that was Vivian?
Wait, what? Vivian is a man?
And an honorable one at that. He deserves to be treated with respect.
I don't believe you.
Most people don't. His parents chose the name. If anything, it keeps the assassins looking for the wrong person. Try and tell me you weren't looking for a female when you entered.
Ulric shrugs. Dracor had a point, though.
Let's get this over with, then. We need to talk about securing an alliance. Then we'll do the same with Dracu and take the best deal.
Vivian approaches us and stands beside Dracor.
You told them? I was having fun, Drakior. That's in short supply these days. Thanks a lot.
They're on a strict schedule, Vivian. The ball opens up in a matter of hours. Remember, you still have a move to make.
Right. A challenge at the ball. Move aside. I'll explain our plan to Ulric. If he has any sense, he'll aid our cause.
Dracor nods and steps aside. Our comrades gather around, having realized what's going on.
So Vivian is a guy?
I guess so. But don't say that too loud. Something tells me it's not common knowledge.
Very smart. Helps you stay incognito. We were all looking for a girl, weren't we?
Yep.
Yeah, something like that. Either way, I'm glad this works out. We should probably talk terms with him.
You have a nice group of comrades, Ulric. Start by telling me about her, though.
Vivian stares at me. That was a reasonable request. My position besides Ulric implied we were closer than the rest.
This is the monarch, heir to the throne of Alestia. After we take down the triumvirate, this is her world. A crazy claim, I know, but we have proof of everything.
Vivian blinks a few times, clearly confused.
Let's continue under the assumption that I understand. At the end of the day, you want my army to aid you, right?
That is correct.
Right.
Well, this is where it gets a bit weird. I want your army just as much as you want mine. Maybe we can come to some sort of conclusion?
Go on.
I'm going to Draku's ball and challenging him. Tomorrow, I plan to be fighting for the throne. We'll do it right. One last fight in the Colosseum. I had Drakior stay at the docks to watch the new arrivals. If he found a group that looked strong enough, he'd tell me. You fit the bill. Better than anyone else. So he spied on you. He heard your group talking about a rebellion and a big army. That's when I knew we hit the jackpot. Our new target was clear. But to know you came here just for me? That's pretty flattering. If you help me take down Draku in the Colosseum, I'll help you. I can offer a few hundred men and maybe more from my throne. Who knows how many people I can rally up if I take over this nation.
But you don't just care about power, right? You plan to change this nation for the better.
Yes. I plan to model ourselves like the mainland. Elections, voters, stuff like that. No more tournaments. We've lost too many amazing people to barbaric, outdated laws.
Vivian, I'll be honest with you here. I want to support you, but the final choice rests with the monarch. After the ball, we need to talk with Draku first and weigh out our options.
Understandable. But be warned. That's when I'm making my move. If he accepts my challenge, we'll be fighting in the morning. You better hurry. That ball is known for huge lines.
Ulric looks over at Pro, and they nod to each other.
Monarch, I need to tell you something. This is my homeland, and I've always wanted to change it. I have to fight alongside Vivian, even if you ally with Draku. And if Draku's terms involve destroying Vivian's insurrection, well, then I think we'll be fighting each other in the Colosseum. Remember that these are fights to the death. I have no other choice.
Fight Ulric? There's no way I could do that.
I'll choose Ulric as my champion then.
Ah, shit. Champion?
Each side gets to choose a champion to fight with them. Aside from that, they get to choose 20 to 30 fighters. Everybody that didn't make the cut for champion as an example. This means that myself, Ulric, and my army would fight in the Colosseum. The battle ends when either the champion or the leader has fallen. Now, I know for a fact that Draku doesn't like to lose his own men. So, if I challenge him at the ball, after you ask him for his support, I bet he'll make you fight me for it. You know, use your men instead. He's predictable, but you use that to your advantage, Monarch.
I hope it doesn't come down to fighting each other. But for the future of this nation, I will do what I must. Now let's get to that ball and see what Draku wants.
He's probably expecting you. If Drakior scoped you out, I'm betting Westy did too. That's Draku's right hand. Just be careful out there. I'll be making my move right after he addresses his people. Make sure you're there. That happens in the throne room. Just don't make the wrong choice, Monarch. Go with me.
He smiles before walking away with Drankor in tow. So he needed us as much as we needed him. I guess in this case that worked in our favor. I didn't expect Ulric to side with Vivian though. I thought he'd wait for my choice and fight alongside me. To know that we could be enemies in the Colosseum, that's terrifying. But it seems like a real possibility with each passing second. It'd make more sense for Draku to use expendable foreigners as his supporting fighters. At the end of the day, it really only mattered who the leader and the champion were. Vivian and Ulric. Draku and who? I guess we'd find out. We stay in the tavern for a while before leaving. However, our next destination was clear. The castle. Hopefully the line for the ball wasn't horribly long. Heart to heart. Ulric sits at the taverns, taking large swigs of ale. It's hard to accept that if we sided with Draku, he'd be against us. But it's understandable as well. He really wanted to change Alarenthia. I hope that this wouldn't affect the rebellion and our unity. We can't have our key members being at arms with each other.
Have a seat, Monarch. These drinks are on me. I don't want you filling up on Draku's handouts.
I nod and take a seat beside him. I'll drink, but I want some answers. His hasty alliance with Vivian that lies about his marking and his past. If he wants my trust, then he needs to tell me everything. I feel lost. I voice these concerns to him as the drink he orders me arrives. Taking a large swig, I sit back and await his response, whatever it may be.
Trust. This isn't about trust, Monarch. Your trust in me won't affect any of your decisions. In fact, we could win this war without any trust at all. All that matters is the desire to fight for a common cause. Did you think that these little chats we've been having were mandatory? Trust me, I could have done just fine without them. In fact, I'd be better off.
I'm taken aback by his harsh words. But I don't let it provoke me, I simply wait. It's best if I let him clear his head instead.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. This friendship we're forming complicates things. There's a reason I never kept many friends, Monarch. I'm scared that if I tell you everything, you'll just walk away. Spirits know everybody else did. Look at me. Still using superstition. The spirits had no power over us, no divine plan. Then why do I find myself still wanting to believe in them? I guess maybe they gave me a sense of comfort in difficult times. It's different now, having difficult times, and knowing the truth. What do I believe in if I want to push myself forward? That's what made me want to side with Vivian, no matter what. The desire to change my nation is what drives me to action now. And when we're done here, it'll be the desire to change our world. That's all I've wanted my entire life. It always seems just out of reach. Whenever I think I have it, the triumvirate swoops in and takes it away. They tell you they'll give you what you want. They convince you that they'll make your dreams come true. Then, when they're done with you, they throw you away.
He lets out a loud sigh and slumps down in his chair. I'm not sure why he's telling me all of this, but I still listen. Even if it's somewhat unrelated, it's helpful for him to vent.
What I'm about to tell you, I tell you in confidence. I knew Sovy before he became the Grand Inquisitor. That's how I know so much about the triumvirate. I saw them take an impressionable young man and ruin him. Turn him into a tool meant to kill without a second thought. They took my friend. And after that, he was no more. And that monster we fight may look like my friend, but that man is long gone. They made sure of that. I promised myself I'd never let them do that again. I failed. They got to Shane, just like they got to Sovy. It's almost impossible to shake off their influence. They just have this way of convincing you.
I continued listening, and we take turns drinking. Soon after, a second drink comes for each of us. I believe in every word. I knew there was a connection. I look back to the vision I had at Valinor's destruction. They said some things that revealed a connection between them. But I just assumed it was something rivals developed in wartime. However, to say that Sovy was once good. That's the part I find hard to believe about all of this. Yet he spared me when he had my life in his hands.
Well, that's one of the things I had to tell you. It was a long time ago, but it still happened. I won't let it get in the way of my performance. A long time ago, I thought maybe I could win him back. You know, maybe he could change and redeem himself. But I haven't thought that in a long time. Now I want to kill him. For everything he's done to me. For everything he's done to us. There's a point where redemption eludes you. And he's past that. I guess this leads into the second thing I wanted to tell you, Monarch. Back in the desert, I told you about how I got these markings. Then Drakior said I ripped them off from the ancient Alarenthians. I wish that was the truth, I really do. But it's not the truth at all. I always tell people that I'm older than they think, but I only say that to hide how old I really am. It's not a lie, it's more like an omission.
Oh yeah? I kind of fucking knew it. He rests his head in his hands, his second glass now empty.
I'm old enough to have earned these markings the right way. There. I said it. I don't care if you believe me or not. I finally said it. I'm older than any of you could have possibly imagined. Very, very old.
I'm so confused right now. He's claiming to be thousands of years old. As far as I knew, the laws that led to these markings were banned long ago. Not only that, he also used to work with Sovy. I'd say he's our immortal enemy. But not only that, he used to work with Sovy. I'd say he's our mortal enemy.
Go ahead. Tell me you don't believe me. So far, nobody else has. They say it's impossible. And soon after that, they say nothing to me at all.
I believe you. This war has proven almost anything is possible.
Really? You'd be the first. Of course, there was always something different about you. Now that we've been through all of this, we finally know why. Thank you, Monarch. I really mean it. There's more to the story, but that's all we have time for. It's just the basics. Stuff you'll need to know moving forward.
The barkeep comes up to us and asks if we want another drink. Ulric shakes his head, sending him off on his way, and puts some money down.
My treat, remember? Now let's get going to that ball. Tonight we change history.
So we might have to fight Ulric. That's pretty scary to think about, Pro.
Only if the Monarch sides with Draku, Valessa. There's still a pretty good chance that won't happen. I wonder who Draku will elect as his champion, though.
Well, his army is supposed to be incredibly powerful. He must get to handpick the strongest Alarenthians. I'm sure Ulric can handle it, though. At least, I hope.
Well, Draku doesn't like to waste his men, remember? It's possible he'll elect an outsider, meaning one of us. Vivian is like an insect to him. Super easy to crush.
So, we'll be fighting each other in the end? Isn't this supposed to be a fight to the death?
Exciting, isn't it?
No, it's not. That means one of us will die.
Not exactly.
Huh?
The match ends if the champion or the leader falls. It'd be possible to end this with Vivian or Dracu's death. The champion is just there to spice things up, I guess. If it were just the two leaders, they'd only fight each other. Having two champions ensures the fight constantly changes pace. It makes things sound more interesting, at least. You need strategy. Watching two leaders in an unending deadlock would be boring. The champions and a small army of men really shake it up. It makes sure the leaders are at the top of their game too. They have to watch every direction and constantly be ready. It serves to show us how strong they truly are. It's crazy. Dracu is undefeated, but Ulric might just stand a chance.
I think you're kind of missing my point, Pro.
Really?
I don't think of Vivian and Dracu as expendable. At the end of the day, one of us will die, no matter what. Even if it's one of them, it's still something I'd like to avoid.
Then it sounds like you side with Vivian then. Dracu's death would be the final death in the Colosseum. There'd be no more fights like this under his reign.
I know you're right, but it's not so easy. We have to kill him just because he thinks differently? There's no way to avoid casualties, and I hate that.
Yeah, but it's not just Alarenthia, Valessa. You could say that about this entire war in general. Sometimes it's better to look at people as means to an end.
I can never do that.
A lot of people feel the same way, trust me. But that's probably why the triumvirate is in charge. We need to start looking at things differently if we want to win.
If we have to compromise ourselves, then is it truly winning? I don't know, Pro. I think I need a little bit of time to myself.
Of course.
Man, this shit get... the background shit is even getting heavy.
If the monarch sides with Dracu, then he could die.
But he's prepared to die for his beliefs, Fortame. There isn't a better way to go. A true, noble end.
Honestly, I'd prefer if his life had no end at all. I have a feeling this choice will end up dividing us. I don't want to fight against Ulric or watch him die.
It's all about respecting his wishes, Fortame. If he puts his life on the line for Alarenthia, we can't deny that. You'd do the same for Valinor. In fact, you already are.
Really?
This war is just battle after battle, Fortame. You put your life on the line back at Rebel HQ. That means you are ready to die for your beliefs.
I guess you're right when you put it that way.
So Ulric isn't just fighting for Alarenthia. Remember that our army gets a boost out of this. At the end of the day, it benefits all of Alestia.
But what if the person we side with loses?
That's what makes things difficult, Fortame. Vivian is the right choice, in my opinion, but not the correct one. The correct choice is Dracu. He's won every battle and has a huge army.
This is pretty complicated. So far, every choice was concrete. There was no room to choose and then lose.
Bitch. Must be nice talking from an NPC point of view.
Alarenthia is different than everything we know. I guess it makes sense that things would change once we arrived. The monarch has a tough choice to make. It's a gamble at best.
It shouldn't have to be that way, though. The future of a nation and our world is a gamble? That's bad news. Vivian has the right idea here for sure.
You mean abolishing Colosseum battles?
Yeah. Things should be just like the rest of Alestia. If they were, then we wouldn't even be in this situation.
But we shouldn't change something just because we don't like it. That's what the Triumvirate did to this world. We can't be like them. Alarenthia has been fine since the dawn of time. It can continue to be fine. Besides, Valinor is the exact same way. independent with its own hierarchy and leadership.
It was, but I'm going to change that. As the Elder, I want unity with the other nations. I think the same would be best for Alarenthia. The Triumvirate changed this world to suit them, right? That's not what we're doing. We're liberating it, making it better. Our end goal is different, so I don't think we can be compared to them.
You have a point, actually. Maybe I've got the wrong idea. A flip coin does the same thing until it lands, after all. The truth is only shown after everything is said and done.
Exactly!
In that case, maybe I do side with Vivian. With Ulric's strength, he may stand a chance. I hope the monarch is on the same page as us.
I guess we'll find out once we get to the ball. But I wonder if Draku will request our aid. And for that matter, who will its champion be? Gosh, I hope things don't get even more complicated. Not sure I could handle a web more tangled than this.
Oh, come on. What's the worst that could happen?
Dominic, if you don't stop fucking us in the ass. Oh! I know I was flirting with you in the past episodes, but stop fucking us in the ass with your shitty lines! Sovy knelt before his masters with Halen and Shane behind him. The time had finally come to tell them what happened in Mazeo. Having Halen's support, however, meant they wouldn't learn the full truth.
The general of the rebellion has fallen. Good work, Shane. You've earned our trust. We had a feeling you'd prove yourself useful. But what of the Cirrus? We notice that you don't have our blade. This displeases us. Please, explain, Sovy.
We thought it better to damage their morale. They have the blade, but they can never recover. Next time we see them, it'll be like crushing an insect.
You failed your mission, Sovy. We wanted you to retrieve that blade. Now they have time to regroup and replan.
Yes, they have time, but not enough. I know where they'll be going, Masters. With your permission, I'll go and end this.
Oh, so Sovy's gonna be the champion for Dracor, I guess.
End what should already be over. Sovy, do you realize what you've done? There's a reason we needed that blade. But you failed to retrieve it, and let the Cirrus get away. Any silver lining you can come up with is simply not enough. Domek's death will only fuel them with rage to use against us.
Only if we give it time to fester. We can leave immediately. Please.
Halen, is Sovy speaking the truth? Do you trust his ability to carry out another mission?
Halen steps forward, nervous. Gulping, he looks at his masters.
No.
Sovy looks shocked as Halen promised him his discretion. Really? You really believed him? He grits his teeth in anger, taking in deep breaths, trying to stay calm.
Tell us what really happened, Halen. We need to know in order to plan our next move.
Of course, Masters. Sovy failed on purpose. He had the blade and the Cirrus's life, but took neither. I don't know why. I regret letting him run off alone.
Damn.
Halen.
Sovy's loud cry echoes through the Triumvirant's chambers. His masters shake their heads, clearly displeased at this news.
He planned to deceive you all along. In fact, he had me promise to lie as well. I did, but I plan to tell you regardless.
Halen kneels down, swearing fervently.
I am unable to lie to you, Masters. You gave me life, and for that I am grateful. Shane and myself can carry out the next mission. At this time, Sovy is unfit for duty. It pains me to say, but it is the truth.
The triumvirate pauses, thinking for a few minutes. An eerie silence fills the room before they speak again. Sovy and Halen, both kneeling, look up at their masters.
Rise, Grand Inquisitor.
Up, they're making Halen the Grand Inquisitor. Sovy slowly rises, his fist trembling with anger.
No, not you, Sovy.
Knew it!
What?
Grand Inquisitor, please rise.
They say it again, and Halen looks around confused. A few moments later, he rises, standing up beside Sovy.
Masters?
Sovy is hereby stripped of the rank of Grand Inquisitor. Halen, taking this mantle, you will train Shane as your apprentice. We trust that you will do as we command, and avoid letting us down.
Sovy takes a few steps back while Halen nods.
Please, Masters, I beg you to reconsider. We have them in our grasp. We can do this.
Sovy, we would have understood the failure of your mission. But lying to us, the lack of loyalty and honesty is unacceptable. It's almost starting to seem like your allegiance lies somewhere else.
It doesn't, I swear.
We cannot be certain that you're telling the truth. Surely you can see how that lie has damaged our trust. Halen, however, has proven to be nothing but loyal. Shane killed a key member of the rebellion as well. You come back to us with nothing to show but deception. It hurts us, and so you must be punished for your actions.
Sovy's head slumps down, accepting defeat. If he wanted to win them back, he'd have to endure this punishment. Fighting it was useless, and would only serve to make things worse for him.
Very well. I understand. But know that I will make this up to you. Until you need me again, I'll be in my chambers.
He starts walking away, but is quickly stopped by his masters.
No.
Turning around, the look of anger is more apparent on his face.
Excuse me?
Your punishment must be rather severe. Without that blade, we are vulnerable.
Then tell me what you plan to do. There is no pain I will not endure for you.
Halen, Shane, come here.
Doing as instructed, they approach the triumvirate. They turn around, and Sovy is faced by all 5 of his now superiors.
We no longer have any use for you, Sovy. The Inquisition has been reformed, and is now stronger. We have no choice but to exile you from Balteus. Permanently.
Damn.
What?
You will leave immediately. This is non-negotiable. Set in stone.
Sovy shakes his head, clearly fighting back tears.
After everything I've done for you, you're going to what? Just throw me away?
Yes. With our reign in danger, we need a strong core. We need men who can get the job done, without question. This is something you seem to be incapable of, Sovy.
There must be something I can do.
No, Sovy. There's nothing you can do. it's too late. Unless you march in here with that blade and the Cirrus. Well, to put it bluntly, we never wish to see your face again.
I mean, they're letting you live. So, like, it could be worse, right? Anyway, that seems like a good place to stop for today. I'm assuming, based on context of what everything's going on, Sovy's gonna try to come and get us. He'll be picked by generic dragon named 1, and they will fight Ulric, which gives that ultimate friend versus ex-friend, you know, betrayed brothers showdown. And let's see. Right now, I want to side with Vivian simply because Ulric is on Vivian's side. And honestly, Ulric is like the best guy. We can't really lose him. So my paws are kind of tied on that. We'll see how it goes, though. Like, you know, a lot of things can change at the party, which is exactly why I'm ending it here and not at the party or after the party, because I feel like that's going to take a really long time and I don't want to drag this on further than I need to. Anyway, if you like what you see, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe so you can see my content in the future. Also, while you're here, if you have any game suggestions or you just want to say hi, leave it down in the comment section below. I'm DC Hyena. I'll catch you on the next vid. Ooh, hiccup.